Hey guys, Baz86 here doing another stream on Microsoft Flight Simulator. We're going to do part 2 of the training thing. I was having some technical issues because I thought that the sound wasn't working, but I checked it back on my phone and actually it was working. But I've messed about with it and things. It seemed as though it was a bit quiet, so hopefully it's sorted itself out now. It's just, if I explain, I'll try to explain it to you that I don't seem as though I rabbit on, but there's, you know, the stuff that you get for DJ in when it shows the bars going across. Like right now, I know that I'm talking because there's a bar going across on Streamlabs to show that my voice is being heard. If it wasn't, you wouldn't be able to hear me, which is like a schoolboy error. So on the video capture device, I was trying to get it to the same thing. I was trying to see those bars that the sound was coming through. It wasn't happening, so I didn't know if the sound was coming through or not, but hopefully it's coming through now and you guys can hear it. How the hell are you, man? Hey John. Yeah man, I'm good. I'm just remembering how to fly. Can you please just tell me if the sound quality is okay? Can you hear me? Can you hear the game, more importantly? Well, I say more importantly, but it's... Can you hear both? Can you hear me and can you hear the game sound? Just give me a yes, you can hear both, or no, you can hear me, you can hear one more than the other. I just need to know, mate. Okay, so I'm fine. Is the game sound fine? So I get quite worried about this sort of stuff. Both you and the damn game. Just checking, man. Just checking. I just get. It's just. I want to be a good YouTuber, and if I'm not a good YouTuber, well, if I'm worried that something's not working, I need to be told if it's not working, so that it doesn't look bad, or my reputation is bad if I come up with bad streams. So I just get confirmation. It's just a thing that I try to do, man. Things like that worry me. They shouldn't, but they do. I'm glad you could understand, mate. Right. Okay, so we were trying to get through training because flipping hell, I've forgotten how to fly. Right, so those are the ones I did last time. The introduction, aircraft essentials, familiarization, flight, and attitude or pitch. So now we go into turns. Yes, I do know what you do mean. Cheers, mate. Thank you for understanding. But yes, I'm doing good, John. I'm doing alright, mate. How are you? Hoping you're okay, pal.
this lesson, we're going to use a line drawn on the windshield to indicate the cruise attitude. I've also added another dotted line to help you bank properly for left turns. Gently move the yoke to the left until the dotted line matches up with the horizon. Then maintain that bank.
You mean to the right, right? Oh no.
Keep working on it, you'll get better. Watch your altitude. It wasn't constant during the turn. Now let's see you level back out. That's okay. Remember to maintain altitude while leveling off. For the next step, turning to the right, let's see how you do on your own without any markings. At the top of your attitude indicator, there's a series of notches representing 10 degrees each. As a general rule, you always want to keep your turns under 30 degrees. Start banking right until you're lined up with the second notch to the right on the attitude indicator. Then maintain that 20-degree bank while remaining at the same altitude until I ask you to stop. Keep working to maintain a constant altitude during the turn. Level us back out now. Great. Additional practice will help, don't worry. Small corrections on the yoke will lead to more accurate turns.
Ah, damn it. I've got to see. That's a pass in my book. That's a pass. Not great, but it's, yeah. Ugh. My turning left was terrible. My leveling back out was even worse. But I did well on turning right, so... Right, power settings. I should be okay at this. My dad was a pilot, so I've got it sort of in my genes, but I daren't go up in real life. It'd take me 5 years of my life to even set foot in a plane. But yeah, at least I can take my flight gene knowledge and stuff into a flight simulator, which is fair enough.
Let's talk about the throttle. If you have the need for speed, then the throttle's for you. Full control over the power output of the engine. In the Cessna 152, that relates directly to the RPM displayed on the tachometer. Pull back on the throttle to reduce RPM to 1800. Pull back on the throttle. You want to reduce RPM to 1800. Look how your speed and altitude are also decreasing. That's good. Okay, let's throttle back up to 2400 RPM. Your speed is increasing now. As long as you maintain the same attitude, your altitude will keep climbing as well. Nice. That was excellent. With piston planes like this Cessna, it's common to have power targets defined in RPM.
Yay! Even though what I don't like about that is they expect you to have your throttle already set to what it is. Yet if you've got a joystick that's got the throttle thing to it, you've got your throttle at the bottom. So luckily I got away with that, but yeah. It took me a little bit long time on the reduce the throttle, but still got it, so that's a pass in my book. Straight and level flight. Now this is the next two is where I've shown in the past that I'm not that great at this sort of stuff. So let's see how we get on. What have you been up to today, John? Anything much, mate? I know I'm doing stuff on the game, but that doesn't stop you chatting away. I'm not just here for the game amusement. I'm here to chat too. And I can see the chat screen, so don't worry about that. I can see what you're saying. I can see exactly what you're saying.
In this lesson, let's take a look at the relationship between attitudes and power settings. Attitude plus power equals performance. We're currently at 5,500 feet in a cruise attitude. The aircraft's nose is positioned under the horizon and cruise power is at 2,300 RPM. Try to reduce power to 2,000 RPM while maintaining 5,500 feet. RPM to 2,000 while maintaining 5,500 feet. Go ahead, lower your RPM to 2,000 while maintaining 5,500 feet. That's good. Probably noticed, to maintain altitude, you need to pitch the nose up. You could just keep pulling on the yoke to hold steady, but that's not really a precise means of control. Probably better to adjust your trim wheel until you don't need to push or pull on the yoke. Drag the trim down when you need to set the nose up. Drag it up to set the nose down. Try adding trim to keep us at 5,500 feet without increasing throttle.
And trim, stop there.
Try it out. Trim the aircraft to maintain 5,500 feet. now. You're too high now. You're too high now. Increase power to 2300 RPM while maintaining 5500 feet. Get us back to a cruise attitude. That's good. Now adjust the trim. Trim the aircraft to maintain 5500 feet. 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 That's good. You did well, but you can do better. The way I was taught, when you adjust the trim, you make course changes at first to remove pressure on the yoke. Then small adjustments to find the perfect setting to keep your desired attitude. If you feel your pitch slipping and need to get back to the proper attitude, don't worry. Just pull on the yoke, then dial in the right trim. That's the key to straight and level flight.
It's just the occasional changes every now and again. A little bit of a difficult one to get grips of. Not bad. I can't get any better on that. Right, attitude test. Okay. Attitude plus power equals performance. Seems simple enough. Just getting some sugar, bear with me. I know all this training stuff seems pointless, but eh, I just seem to keep making mistakes every time I'm flying, so that's why I'm doing it.
The art of maneuvering a plane through the air isn't a mystery to you anymore. Now it's time to test the skills you've learned. As you can see, we're cruising at 6,000 feet on a north heading of 360 degrees. Start by descending to 5,500 feet while maintaining a northerly heading. When you feel ready, start descending. While descending, reduce throttle to avoid overspeed. That's okay. Now climb to 6,000 feet and turn to a south heading. On the Cessna 152, you need full power to climb effectively. You can start the climb when you're ready.
Oh, yeah.
Nice. All right, next exercise. Maintain your heading of 180 degrees. Stay at 6,000 feet and adjust your airspeed to 80 knots. Go ahead and reduce your speed. Go ahead and reduce your speed. That's okay. Review straight and level flight to better manage your speed and altitude. Additional practice will help, don't worry.
Yeah, she noticed I was having issues with that. Okay, let's move in. What's 79? So you basically need all A's for that to make it 100. That wasn't gonna happen. Take off and landing. Taxiing. Let's get used to this, especially landing. Landing's when I probably will decide to go that extra work.
Let's take a moment to talk about taxiing. Taxiing refers to moving the aircraft on the ground under its own power. In particular, getting from the ramp out to the hold short point on the edge of the runway. Steering on the ground is managed through the rudder pedals. That's right, unlike driving a car, we turn by using our feet. Okay, ready? With the throttle idle, release your parking brake. Okay. Now, gently increase throttle to get the aircraft moving.
I can always do taxiing. I never have an issue with taxiing.
Alright. Use your rudder pedal to turn left and enter the taxiway. As you increase power, watch the tachometer and make sure to stay around 1,000 RPM. Now test the brakes. Good. Brakes checked. Taxi to the next exit, then come to a stop. Remember to control your speed with throttle and brakes. See the crossing in front of us? Stop before it as if traffic was coming off the runway. Alright, taxi to holding point Alpha 1 next. It's at the far end of the airport near the head of runway 21. Stay as close as possible to the taxiway center marked by the yellow line, and watch your speed.
Give me just a sec. I'm just moving my controller a bit close to me. Frick! No, that's not what I asked for. Oh. Just having the controller a little bit close to me, a bit closer to me, so I don't need to reach out so much for the joystick. It's a little bit far away.
After the right turn, come to a stop before the hold short point and prep for takeoff. That was good taxiing. The next challenge will be to keep the aircraft under control while at full throttle for takeoff.
Oh, what? Give me a B for that, why? You giving me a B because I took too long? Is that what it is? Sake. I didn't think it was... I didn't think it was based on score or time. I'm very close to an A. Landing's gonna be difficult. I can already tell. Taking off, not an issue. It's landing that's going to be a problem. Okay.
There's an old saying I like. A mile of road will take you a mile. A mile of runway will take you anywhere. Taking off isn't hard, but there are a few key points to remember. First, we always take off into the wind, which won't be an issue on a calm day like today. Second, before we enter a runway, we always make sure it's clear. Check to the right to see if a vehicle is on the runway, and to the left to make sure no other planes are approaching. Everything looks good, no cross traffic. Go ahead and taxi into position. Now slowly taxi onto the runway and align the plane with the center line. Then stop your plane just after the number 21. Let's position the plane for takeoff. Not bad. All right, let's do this. Apply full power and I'll walk you through the takeoff as we go. rudders to stay on the center line and keep pushing power until you reach 55 knots. Good. Now gently pull back on the yoke. Pull back on the yoke to take off. And we're airborne. Line up the top of your instrument panel so it's a couple of inches above the horizon. That'll pitch us up and set a good climb attitude. Focus on flying straight. Use your rudders to keep the runway heading of 210 degrees. Maintain 75 knots and we'll reach our target altitude of 5,500 feet in no time. Okay, 5,500 feet. You've reached your target altitude. Good job.
Oh, come on. How was that not an A? Why wasn't it not? No, look how close I am. Give me just a little second, guys. I've just got to go. I'm just having a drink. I would have thought I'd do number one. No issues. Not bad for 2. Let me down on 3 though. Okay, next one is dead stick landing. I'm just gonna go to the toilet, guys. I'll be right back. Let's go.
For this landing exercise, I want you to focus on the yoke only. We're close enough to the runway to land safely without adding any throttle. Maintain a speed of around 65 knots. Pitch down if you're going too slow. Pitch up if you're too fast.
This is going to take me a couple of tries. I can already tell.
Keep your airspeed at 65 knots. When you're 10 feet above the runway, it's time to flare. To flare means to raise the nose of the aircraft to slow your descent for a softer landing, but without ever leveling off or climbing. The main landing gear will touch down before the nose wheel does. We're coming up on flare height. Resist the temptation to pull back. Now focus on the end of the runway and pull back slightly on the yoke to aim the nose just above it. Nice. Now apply the brakes to slow us down and bring the plane to a stop. Well done, but there's room for improvement.
Yeah.
Keep in mind that approaching the runway at the right speed is key to a good landing.
I'd like to give that another go. I got a feeling I could make that a bit better. And landing's my downfall.
For this landing exercise, I want you to focus on the yoke only. We're close enough to the runway to land safely without adding any throttle. Maintain a speed of around 65 knots. Pitch down if you're going too slow. Pitch up if you're too fast. Keep your airspeed at 65 knots. When you're 10 feet above the runway, it's time to flare. To flare means to raise the nose of the aircraft to slow your descent for a softer landing, but without ever leveling off or climbing. The main landing gear will touch down before the nose wheel does. We're coming up on flare height. Resist the temptation to pull back. Now focus on the end of the runway and pull back slightly on the yoke to aim the nose just above it. Nice. Now apply the brakes to slow us down and bring the plane to a stop. Well done, but there's room for improvement. Keep in mind that approaching the runway at the right speed is key to a good landing.
Right, I'll do it one more time. One more time, because this is the point. This is the point that I have issues with. I get panicky because I worry about the throttle. And I need to get used to landing in cockpit view, because last time I tried landing in out outboard view, and it just went wrong. So I need to practice doing it in this.
For this landing exercise, I want you to focus on the yoke only. We're close enough to the runway to land safely without adding any throttle. Maintain a speed of around 65 knots. Pitch down if you're going too slow. Pitch up if you're too fast. Keep your airspeed at 65 knots. When you're 10 feet above the runway, it's time to flare. To flare means to raise the nose of the aircraft to slow your descent for a softer landing, but without ever leveling off or climbing. The main landing gear will touch down before the nose wheel does. We're coming up on flare height. Resist the temptation to pull back. Now focus on the end of the runway and pull back slightly on the yoke to aim the nose just above it. Nice. Now apply the brakes to slow us down and bring the plane to a stop. Well done, but there's room for improvement. Keep in mind that approaching the runway at the right speed is key to a good landing.
I don't think I'm going to get any better than that. Landing without elevator. Combine throttle and yoke to land safely. Oh my god. In this training session, you'll be placed in conditions that will allow you to focus on the throttle to manage the glide path on the final approach to land. Manage glide path on the final approach. Flare the aircraft to touch down smoothly. Brake after landing to end the flight safely. Okay.
In this landing exercise, I want you to focus on staying on the glide path using the throttle only. Smooth action on the throttle is key for remaining on the correct glide path. If you find yourself too high, reduce your power. If you're too low, increase it. Remember though, always make soft corrections. You don't want to overcompensate.
I'm gonna have to use the joystick because this plane just won't stay still.
Now you can use the elevator to land. Reduce throttle to idle.
I have.
Now focus on the end of the runway and pull back slightly on the yoke to aim the nose just above it. Nice. Now apply the brakes to slow us down and bring the plane to a stop. You did well, but you can do better.
What I don't understand is that this thing is not. I think its sensitivity is too high. Hang on, I just need to turn the light on a sec. It might just be me, but I feel as though the thing itself, its sensitivity is too high. Okay, let's give that a go. Just 10 more flaps. See, it doesn't mention anything about flaps.
In this landing exercise, I want you to focus on staying on the glide path using the throttle only. Smooth action on the throttle is key for remaining on the correct glide path. If you find yourself too high, reduce your power. If you're too low, increase it. Remember though, always make soft corrections. You don't want to overcompensate. Now you can use the elevator to land.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
Reduce throttle to idle.
It is.
Now focus on the end of the runway and pull back slightly on the yoke to aim the nose just above it. Nice. Now apply the brakes to slow us down and bring the plane to a stop. You did well, but you can do better.
Good God. It doesn't give you any it doesn't give you any power. Yeah. Okay. I'm not. D's fine. I'm not going to do any better. Right, what's the next one? Landing, combining throttle and yoke. Rear wheels, touch point. She kind of turned the yoke off on me. I was like giving it down and it wouldn't move.
My first instructor used to say, the best part of flying is landing in one piece. Today, you're in charge of bringing us in for a safe landing. And I've already set us up in landing configuration at 65 knots with 10 degrees of flaps and idle power. Keep your aim point on the runway threshold. When you're 10 feet above the runway, it's time to flare. Throttle to idle. Now...
Frick. I don't know what happened. It's because she gave me those flaps.
My first instructor used to say, the best part of flying is landing in one piece. Today, you're in charge of bringing us in for a safe landing. And I've already set us up in landing configuration at 65 knots with 10 degrees of flaps and idle power. Keep your aim point on the runway threshold. When you're 10 feet above the runway, it's time to flare. Throttle to idle. Now focus on the end of the runway and pull back slightly on the yoke to aim the nose just above it. Nice. Now apply the brakes to slow us down and bring the plane to a stop. You did well, but you can do better.
Do I try? If it's a C, I'll give it another go.
Keep in mind that approaching the runway at the right speed is key to a good landing.
Game hasn't paused on me, has it? Oh, let me press that. Yep, seems as though the game's froze on me. Yep, I'm gonna have to end the stream. Game's decided to freeze on me. Alright, sorry about this guys, I'll be right back with more training. We're having some technical